Too late, Dave. Well, I'd like to welcome you all here this afternoon to the Tumut Land Care Nursery, which works under the auspices of the Riverina Highlands Land Care Network, to our seed bomb workshop, hosted or facilitated, I should say, by Dick Green here. I'll just give you a brief outline about the nursery and how it works and goes about its business. It's a community-based nursery. It's not for profit, but we are self-financed by our sales and by donations. Most of the work here is done by a group of very loyal volunteers, and they range from school children through to special needs, through to work for the dole, through to retired people and people with disabilities. So most of our plants here are all endemic or indigenous to the local area. We like to grow as many or as widest variety as possible, but it's sometimes difficult with certain things that can be difficult in a nursery situation. So what we do is we do all our propagation from either cuttings, seed or division, which is division with your grasses, cuttings with most of your grevilleas, and seed for most of your eucalyptus, cummin gums and wattles, bottle brush, etc. sort of thing. So the plants are all at a reasonable price, and for people in need, especially after a crisis like we've just gone through, or whether it be fire, flood or just hard times, we're always able to give away a few trees just to get you started and maybe pick your interest up, and from that we can always arrange an order at a very reasonable cost if you've got some rehab areas or areas you'd like to see more wildlife or just more flora and fauna and good ecological preservation and production in the area. So I'd like to welcome you all, and I'll hand over to Dick for our afternoon session, in which he'll welcome you all and welcome the country himself. So thanks very much for coming again, Dick. Thank you.
Can I just quickly say, I'm here from Murrumbidgee Land Care. We're a sort of an umbrella group that supports all the local land care groups, including Riverina Highlands. And we're really keen, through collaboration with Murrumbidgee Land Care and Riverina Highlands, to regenerate, where we can, fire-affected landscapes. Is it too soon? Probably. My farm itself was burnt as well, so but you know, we've got to make a start, and a workshop is a start. So Sheree and I are going to be working on getting some finance to help the nursery here to propagate as many plants as we possibly can to give away for free to all those who are fire affected. So spread the word. That's what we're doing, and that's what is going to be available for all those fire-affected communities, individuals, whoever.
Coming. We're meeting here on Wiradjuri, Wagga country, and what a wonderful country it is that can produce plants like this. Beautiful plants. There's some of those we can collect seed for and actually grow them. On this method we're going to use is another way of doing it. We're actually taking 10 minutes at the end to show you some direct seeding methods too, which might be an alternative for people. Hand direct seeding we're talking about. So yeah, beautiful country. Now, despite the fire, despite the drought, despite the floods, there's a resilience in this country That's amazing. I might just tell you another little story from another tradition. I think it's from an Indian tradition. About good things and bad things that happen. So the chief of the village raises horses, stallions, and he's got them in a big corral. One day, one of the people left the gate open, and the horses getting around got away. So he ran up to the chief and he said, "Oh, look, the horses got away. Of course, it's got away." And the chief said, "Oh, could be a good thing, could be a bad thing." So the next day, the stallions all came back with mares. He said, "Oh, that's a good thing. It's a good thing. Well, could be a good thing, could be a bad thing." So what happens? The mares have foals. So that's a good thing, could be a bad thing. But then the chief's son, was breaking in some of the foals. He fell off and broke his leg. That's a good thing. Could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. So the next week, the king sent out his men to collect all the able-bodied men to join the army to fight the war. I said, "Oh, that could be a good thing, could be a bad thing," but because his leg was broken, he didn't go. So the story goes on. Could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. So with these fires, these droughts, these floods, yes, they are bad things, but some good could come of it, or a change, or a different way of looking at the landscape, or whatever. But around the world, and in this country in the last 2 or 3 years, is seeking for indigenous knowledge of how to work with the country. 40 to 60,000 years of experience is coming to the fore. People of Western New South Wales like fires, and they walk with the fire, barefoot, walk with the fire, cultural burns. And so when the European explorers came here, they saw smoke here, smoke there, whatever. Cool burn, slow burn, a cultural burn, not just for reducing hazard, encouragement. So there's a lot to learn from that. We're going to do some direct seeding. Wiradjuri people did direct seeding with quandong seeds. They ate the quandong, threw it on the ground, dug a bit of a hole, and without getting too personal about it, they got the boys to do a bit like washing it into the ground, so putting the seed back. Very labour intensive. What we're going to do today is potentially very labour intensive too, but we've got machines to do the same job. So yeah, could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. So whilst people are in pretty bad state at the moment from this, including Steve, he's been half his place, was it? Or what? Half? David, sorry. Who did I say? Steve. I'm thinking this.
More than half.
Okay. So yeah, just with that, so we just pause for a moment and reflect on country, landscape, and the issues that we are facing, and then if we can just leave those that have been badly affected, just try and put that in the background a bit, and we'll have some fun and enjoy ourselves. So just for a few moments. information about soils, and we're going to make these seed bombs or balls. This is what we're going to end up with. So what do we use with them? How much stuff do we put in them? And what soil do we use? Basically, we're going to use a clay base because move that board over there. Hey, John. John. Now this morning with the children and the elders, older people in the community, the two most important groups, this age and the ones my age and above. I wonder why that might be. Anyone hazard a guess why that might be? Two most important groups for a continuing community and society. The oldest and the youngest. Hmm? Yeah.
Because it's preserving the past and making sure that the future will know the past.
Pretty much that. So the older people have got the most knowledge about things, and the youngest people are going to take it the furthest. And they're keen. They're keen. So, sorry, men in their 40s, we think in our society they're the leaders, they're most important, and we make out they are. It's really the youngest and the oldest. So here's a very rough soil profile, a few trees growing it. The topsoil, which is this, is up here. We don't want to use that, even though it's got nutrients, because it's got weed seeds. What we want to use is this bottom bit here, the clay, the subsoil, and weed free. That's what we start with. So all these bits and pieces here we went through with the children just about soil. This is coarse sand. There is sand in soil. We don't want to use that because it won't stick together. Here's some stuff that looks like it might be alright, but it's bricky sand. That's no good either. But what we do have is clay, in this case red clay. This was sieved out. There's two sizes here, but this is all new to me too. So I tried making some balls out of that, and it's no different. But we do need sieved clay. So if people can remember where they're sitting without too much ado, let's go over here and sieve some. Find yourself, you won't be in the sun long, so the body's off. No, it's not email you.
It's lovely to meet you. I seem to resemble I've been hearing all about it.
So what Andre's been doing, now I didn't inform Steve that we really needed dry clay for this, but we've been trying to dry it somehow. Pop it in there. So we wanted the clay, we put it through sieves. A bit of heavy stuff coming through. We'll do this fairly quickly. Because we've got heaps. So that size would be okay too. So we'll put it in there. But, we probably don't need the stone either, but it's all new to all of it, so that's what we need. And that's it. Yeah, we don't want black clay. If anyone's on the rivers or creeks or floodplains, we don't want black clay. It's too much clay. When we say clay, this red stuff is probably 60% clay and then minor particles and a bit of sand. So we want it to stick together. But with black clay, it just makes it too hard, cracks, makes it like a brick. So we're guessing that the seeds aren't going to go and germinate and something like that. Red clay, where do you get it? Bank of the dam, that far under the ground, 40 centimetres on the ground on red country. Basalt, probably some people up in Tumut will be able to get some basalt. No, but any clay. Main thing is clean, no weed seeds. That's about it.
100 seed bombs and 80 seedlings, dianella and kangaroo grass for distribution to those who've been fire affected. So if you want to take away some today, you're more than welcome to take them. They were made from Yaven Creek seed, There's a landscaper in Wagga who sourced it from Yeoden Creek, and it's a mixture of Blakely's red gum, Xanthorrhoea, Poa, Dianella, Lamandra, and there's one other, and I can't remember what it is. But yeah, it should. As Dick has said, if you scrape it away and get it in contact with the soil properly, it should work. And add water.
Yeah, we weren't sure. I put one in water, or two. This bottom one's here, one's that's collapsed. This is what you want when it rains. One that I made in Wagga. I put that in the water shortly after it's collapsed completely. So the seed's in there somewhere, ready to go. So that's what you want. So for that reason we've got 50% clay, 50% compost. So it'll hold together until that rain, and then it'll split apart and hopefully the seeds will germinate. So using any of those types of compost. Compost also provides the nutrient, and the clay holds the moisture. If we use sand, it'll just fall apart. You couldn't do it with sand, and it doesn't hold the water. The water drains through it, yes, but it doesn't hold the water. So that's why we use clay and compost. Yeah.
So in making these, would you go out and distribute them once they're dry, or would you wait until the autumn winter rain and do it at that time? So like when would be the best place to put them to ground?
I'll read you the wording.
Oh right.
Okay, ideally seed bombing should be timed prior to or to coincide with the rain,
Yep.
to soften the seed ball and increase the success of germination. I've stuck my head out of it. Make balls in preparation for spreading at the end of the dry season, drought or after bushfire. For New South Wales Riverina Highlands, where we are, scatter in anticipation of opening rains and follow up autumn rains.
Okay.
So I think we said to the children not before the 1st of March, because they took an egg carton home full because they want to get them out. But we're still 6 weeks away from. It's probably a bit early. So yeah, you've got to guess it a bit.
Okay.
If you like some people up in the northern New South Wales who are cropping the lakes, they follow the rain forecasts 2 days before. They get on their big, huge tractors and go for hell around these lakes, and that rains, and they sow and they dry sow and get the rain. So, I don't know if you want to keep an eye out for the weather. Predicted
Yeah.
25 mils or something.
Oh, this one will just be slingshotting them out, but
Well, it's good practice
keep
anyway.
them entertained.
Yeah, that's all right.
And even
That's good.
sometimes they'll throw.
You'll throw them too.
You
won't
throw
you?
them too, you bomb them.
Dick, have you had any sort of sites that have been burnt and it was right on the edge of the creek at the moment and you just had an inch of rain and you tempted, or wait a bit longer?
Well, look, I know the last couple of days have been fantastic. It's sort of nice autumn weather. But, you know, I just heard one from somewhere saying, oh yeah, we're going to the 40s next week. Oh, I don't know where that was. Hang on. In Wagga, I always used to say that the hottest week of the year is when the kids go back to school, first week of February.
Yeah.
You know, because there's about a 6-week time lag between the equinox, now when the sun is highest, there's a lag. The soil temperature lags about 6 weeks behind the air temperature. So that's why first week in February, 6 weeks behind the equinox or just after Christmas. So yeah, very tempting. I mean, if we knew more about predation, will they just stay there, or will the rats come and eat them, or whatever?
Yeah.
We could do it any time, but we don't know.
They'll store, won't they, Dick?
Sorry?
You
Oh,
can
you-
those balls for a couple of months, can't you?
Oh, easy, more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the ideal one. So they get scattered in anticipation of the rain, and they're ready to go.
So now is really a good time to just
Make
a
them,
lot of them.
have them, have all these egg containers ready to go. Yeah. So if you take one of these cups when you get back to the table or thereabouts, doesn't have to be spot on. So you fill this one up slightly more than half there because there's a big volume up there. Half of that and half of the compost. So that's about half. And then the compost. Top it up with the compost. We made some with less compost. I was just a bit worried that they might lid open when we get the water, so they go really hard. Mix that all up. We'll be using these containers over there or on this. Now that's probably enough to make half a dozen of these, right? So here's some that the children made this morning. They've written on the name of it, the date, and mostly put their name on it. So you take them home, they need to be dried off before they can be used. Getting the idea, we're going to use these spray containers. We've forgotten one thing already, which is the seed. So what we're going to use is Steve.
He's managing stuff around.
Oh, is he? Vinifera. Do you know what it's called? No. Ribbon gum, is it? Or? Yes. Is it? Anyway, Eucalyptus vinifera. Now with the eucalypts, the size of the seed, look at this. Have a look, pass this one around. This is a wattle. Pass it around. I've deliberately stuck some seed on the outside. This is a Kunzia, violet Kunzia from up Gingelic. You can see the seeds on the outside.
Protein balls. Yeah, it looks exactly like a protein ball.
Protein ball.
That one there?
Yeah.
Now this one here, if you pass it around, I'll give you $10 if you can actually see any seed, but that is eucalyptus seed in there. That's a white box, Eucalyptus albans, or in Wiradjuri we call it birri.
Little black mark.
Yeah, a little black one. Okay.
If you just have it on
So to give you an idea, has anyone done seed collecting? Know what eucalyptus seed looks like? No. This is a bag of eucalyptus seed. I'm guessing here a bit. There's probably enough seed here for about 4,000 or 5,000 trees. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But just to sort of show you what I mean, this is not all seed either.
It's a wattle tree. It's a wattle seed. With some doses.
All the little black bits of seed. All the little black ones of seed. Small and poppy seed.
This one's eucalyptus.
Not the brown ones, the black ones.
So how long is it viable for us?
Okay.
Collected it. That one's the eucalyptus.
Couple of years, 2 or 3 years.
Oh yeah, 10
Tiny,
Yeah. Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that. See that? That's a eucalyptus one, the gum tree.
Right. So what I'm going to do is a couple of bombs here with this. I'm going to put that much in, which is probably enough if it all germinated for 20 trees.
Wow.
But remember, we're only going to make 2, and there is a big fall-off rate in viability, and we don't want to waste this precious seed. So when they germinate, out of the 20 or so, we might get 2, and then they'll have to compete with each other as they go. So now we've got everything. So we just wet it up enough that it can form into one of those balls. Now the idea is we don't want to, if anyone's a potter, we don't want it sort of worked and worked and worked, because it actually changes the chemical nature of the clay. The atoms line up and they hook into each other and make it like a brick. Don't really like a brick, so a bit of a squeeze like that, that feels good, and then round it off. And it's ready to go. Put it in there. I'll do this second one.
So do you make your compost? Or do you buy it? Can you buy a good enough compost?
We do a bit of vegetable garden. Put your name on it, what it was. I'll just put Eucalyptus vinifera. You'll find your common name and the date, 22nd of the 1st. 20. So then it's ready to go home. So that's what we can do. Any comments, questions, concretes, whatever? Steve's given us one of the hoas, snow grasses for up in the high country. What else? We'll talk about kangaroo grass a bit later, I think. That might be a challenge. And okay. Just be sparing with this because this is Steve's collection. This is revegetate.
Oh.
Goes around the Cunningham yarn. Okay. Alright. And so the question was, how much do we need? So for for wattles, about 3 to 5, about that many.
Yep.
And for the smaller ones, a pinch. You saw how many seeds there were in the euc, so just a pinch.
Yep.
This is a sort of a pinch too, but it's just less seeds.
And what about the grasses?
Okay,
Would you use more?
pinch again.
Is it because grass is like, it has the seeds on the top and the grass eats and the berries?
I do the same. Just a pinch. So when we get back, we've got access to it. David, this book, Re-vegetation, of the Southwest Slopes, Re-vegetate. Within that, there's description of species, but also a profile for each area around the place. And I copied off a couple. One from the Wagga forest area. That you?
Yep. Thank you.
Has anyone else come up that way?
I'd like sorry.
Okay. And for the Ellerslie State Forest, Stone Mountains Highway, Yaven Creek Road. Anyone? No? Who's up Yaven? Come down the slope a bit. We've got similar species, but things like yellow box come in. All right. Then we get down to the creek, and Polyanthemus, scribbly gum, that's it. So that'll give you a guide to where you are. So you're alright to be contacted, I think. Another good guide you might be able to source in the library is the Tumut Roadside Veg Survey, or from the council, or once again from David, Steve, or V. Now these are roadsides, so I'm not sure whether the council requires permission for you to collect seed off there, but these are pretty desperate situations and we're doing stuff for the environment. As long as you wear a vest and keep safe on the road, know what you're doing to some extent. So this gives you the conservation value. So for instance, the old Tumbarumba Road, west of Batlow, is really high conservation area. And there's a little bit of Yaven Creek Road that's really high conservation area too. So it gives you a guide as to where to go and collect. Germinate. Whereas you scatter, whatever. You've got weed competition too. And when we do the direct seeding demo, you'll see that once again we need to get rid of the weed seed and bury the seed a little bit to give it a chance. Okay, so this is one of the ones that the people did from Wagga. I put 2 in there in the water. One's disintegrated, the other one's just sitting on the top, which is what you want when it rains. This one here I put in about 10 minutes ago, one of the ones we made yesterday, so it's disintegrating. What we're going to do is put this one in now. By the time I finish talking, we'll see what happens. Already the clay is starting to disperse and the air bubbles are coming out and start to break up. Okay, so what do we do now? We take these home. They need to be dried out fairly quickly because we don't want the seeds in there absorbing the moisture today and tomorrow and whatever, otherwise they'll start to germinate. But we don't want them out in the sun directly. They need to dry fairly quickly, airy, warm, like on the windowsill at home in the kitchen or something like that. They'll only take a couple of days or overnight and they'll get pretty hard. So then, how do we use them? So here's the notes for today, which will explain virtually what we did and what to do. But really what we want to do is wait for or anticipate autumn rains at this stage. Like if we had that rain that we had in the last few days here, sort of just into March, that'd be ideal. But because we've got potential for really hot weather still for another month, 6 weeks, who knows these days, it's a bit too early. So I know you might be enthusiastic, and it's probably all right for Oscar and whatever, you'd be keen to put them out in the garden or whatever. But any that go in the bush, I'd wait a while. We just don't know here, like these things might hang around all right without any rain. But we do know at least that rats will get into them. So that's one thing. So use them for re-veg, wherever you've got burnt areas, drought areas, whatever, and hand scatter. We estimated that 4 or 5 of us sitting around here in the day could make easy 1,000 of these things. But bear in mind, and we're interested to know how you go, around the world, depending on what they use it for, gardens and whatever the techniques, you could get really high germination, get low, like down as low as 10%. That's the lowest we've seen. So somewhere in between that. But in India they've got machines for doing this. I think they make 9,000 of these in an hour or something like that. Might be a day, I'm not sure. But you can imagine then you can scatter them by air and whatever. So this is the connecting with country way to do it by hand, as we talked about. So you take them home, dry them, and give them a try. Our wattles and eucalyptus and whatever, the germination rate's not that high, especially in the bush situation. So yeah, that's the go there.
If we collect our own wattle seed,
yeah.
What have we got to do before we put it in the...
Yeah, you have to heat treat it with boiling water.
Yeah.
So what you do is take it, depending on what your quantity is, take your cup, put your seed in it. Let's say, you know, if you're going to do 200 trees, put it there and boil the water. Just let it go off the boil, tip it in, go that far. Steve's probably a lot more experience with this. Any extra detail on it?
The only thing is that being a sort of a member of the pea family, sometimes when you take it out and sow it in a seed tray of potting mix with a little bit of sand is always good. Probably about that deep in a tray and just sprinkle them across. Before you actually do that, when you take them out of the boiling water, just grab a couple of seeds and maybe just pinch it and see if the seed's got a little bit of give in it, because some seeds, wattle seed will have a little bit of give after an hour and some might take 8 hours soaking in.
Which, you know, we've got more reliability with seed stock, but we need a 12-month lead time to get them to plant them out, so it's more labour intensive. So if we can get it to work right, it's good. But you know, those establishment rates we don't know for this area, so worth a try. Now some of the issues, it's getting that local seed. That's a big issue. Talked about rats and birds and things taking them. Need that follow-up rain. And we're not sure what happens with the new plants now regards animals, because things are pretty short around the place in terms of tucker, so whatever wildlife they might just turn in on. And yeah, it is labour intensive, but you could get machines for it, but it's a good thing to do. So I've got a sheet here which explains all we've talked about, so people can take one if they want one and pass it round. Take one, Firstly, what we did today,
Anybody some strawberry plants? We've got strawberries at home which got burnt but have regrown. Unbelievable. So I think if you want some. Oh, well, I think we'll wait and see how the ones we've got go before we put more in. No one will. Thank you. No, it's just one person. Yeah. We've got it full of corner. Yeah. We want to get rid of it. Oh, right. Thanks for the website. You need this one here? Yeah.
I'm standing next to a veggie garden.
I
I know, look at it.
Excuse me, if you want that strawberry, I'll show you where it is. Fireman's hoe? Fireman's hoe?
Yeah. This is used in the fire, so I used to speak. I didn't get too much into it. This is what we use to reduce some direct seeding. Another method of establishing. Let's wait for this lady to come. You could do it with a rake. This is a pretty good tool. Now imagine we're in a burnt area, a drought area, sort of on the edge of the bush, whatever. I mean, this is some idea because it's been mowed and whatever. We've got low ground cover. So what we need to do is scrape off the little patch, scrape off the weeds and the weed seed. Now if you're in a drain, you have growth and spray in a spot because day after fire or drought, I'm not too worried about that. Obviously there'll be still some weed there. So what you do then is a mini cultivation, like that. Mini cultivation. And what we're going to sow here, you're getting this, is some of those wattle seeds were treated. So I've got about 10 or 15 there, 10 or 15 seeds. And I'm just going to sprinkle them around, like that. I'm going to go across the other way, so that effectively buries them, and then I'm going to stamp it down like that. And that's it for the sowing. Now, because we've got hares and rabbits and whatever, we could go to the expense of making these. Maybe some of that old burnt netting could be used for this. Yeah. At least till the things get up. Put that over there, and then with a couple of bits of wire, hold that down. Pin it down. I won't bring it in all the way, so I can get it there. So that's the idea. Yeah, you've got weed issues, you want to take off. If you've sprayed it, you've got to control. And obviously after they get a bit of kangaroos and things can get over the top. Hopefully it would establish. You could put a hollow one in or whatever. It does work. But you do have to keep the animals off. Any questions or comments?